Yo, Frost, good to see you, man. How's it going?
Welcome back.
Hey, Denali, nice job snagging first.
Welcome back.
Yo, dude, good chat yesterday. Thanks for chatting with me about stuff. I know I wasn't super responsive. I was trying to help my wife get her classroom together. Doing great. That's awesome. Good to hear. Okay, hopefully my mic sounds better today than it did just a second ago. I know there's stuff going on. Thanks for the time. Anytime, dude. Literally did it at the same time. You tried, Base Guru. Thanks for the hydrate. Guys, we got game news today. It's Monday. I hope everybody had a good weekend. We'll be having some interesting topics today. Kind of all over the place. I was back and forth on what to title the stream today. But welcome in, guys. Good morning. Good to see you. Very excited to get started on the game news discussion today. $50-50 weekend. Need the ones and zeros on your side. Unfortunately, that takes years of discipline and practice in the art of technomancy. Okay, that all looks like it's correct. Oh wait, I forgot one. What the heck? I just want to be able to chat. There we go. Complicated. Went bowling, but got robbed, dropped your wallet when I found it all. Money was gone. Found all my money was gone. Dude, holy crap. Ah, that is wild. I hate that happened to you, man. Okay. That one working? Yep. People are awful. Indeed, dude. That's why we're in need of a savior. Because we can't, as a group, we can't overcome our base instincts. So just leave your ID cards. Hopefully. I hope that's the case. You never know what somebody else is going through. And I hate that for you, Zeke. It's fine. It wasn't too much. Only 140 cash. Nothing else. Well, I mean... You know, it still sucks, but I'm glad it wasn't worse. ID and bank card are fine. Yeah, a lot of times with stuff like that, it's what's the path of least resistance, dump the rest. I've had stuff stolen from me before. Growing up, I had a couple different break-ins that I lost a bunch of stuff. Got most of it recovered, but a lot of times the stuff I wanted to recover wasn't recoverable. But I was a kid then, so it was like everything was important. I don't know, it's different. Not trying to one up anybody, I just get it. Probably the bank send you a new card though, in case they took pics of the number. Yeah, that's true. If they thought that far ahead. Alright. Well, let's jump into news mode here. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you're all having a great Monday so far, except Zeke. I understand, dude. Your Monday's kind of rough. But welcome to the Monday Game News Show. We got quite a bit to cover. I'm excited to get into it. I hope everybody had a good weekend. You'll have to excuse if I look tired. Well, I didn't sleep much last night. Our air conditioner went out. I noticed in the evening about, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock that it was just humming, but not actually running. And so, currently no AC in the house. Had to sleep with a fan. It It didn't really matter. Ginger, thank you so much for that sub. Let's go, dude. Hitting the tier 1 sub. Happy Monday, brother. I had the silent alerts on for game news. Because we got to be focused. But very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Oh, man. Awesome, dude. Hope you're doing good. But yeah, so I don't have AC in the house now. And it really is not great. Is under warranty. Oh, man. That's the funniest joke I've heard all morning. I called the HVAC people we use have a 24/7 line, and a person answered it at like 9:30 last night and said they said they would put me on the urgent list, and the earliest they could definitely come out if they can't get to me today is tomorrow, which I don't want to go more than 24 hours without AC, but yeah, that's where we are. All right, I don't want to spend all morning there, but it's very frustrating. No, that was the old house, basically. No AC, no bueno, dude. Indeed. But yeah, I think just personal diagnoses, and then we'll jump into the game news. Personal diagnoses here. I think a capacitor went out, which should be a simple fix because I just had the blower motor replaced. Yeah, it is totally not cool. Indeed. It is not cool at all. But we just had the blower motor replaced like a year ago, so I don't think the whole motor went out, but I do think the capacitor that connects to that, I don't know how that works. I just know it's a capacitor. I think that's where the problem is. But we'll find out when they come out to look. Not looking forward to that. You know, it was my fault. I was looking forward to having a little extra money with this coming paycheck. And naturally, the AC knew what was going on, and they just couldn't have that. The struggles of home ownership. Anyway, all right, let's not get too negative. Let's jump into the game news. We got a lot to talk about, and we got to fill out an hour. Maybe we can come back to this later. Let's jump into our first topic, because there's a lot to discuss around Sony, around Square, around gaming. Battlefield was this weekend. You know, there was a lot that happened. So let's just jump in and not delay any further. All right, this is one of the saddest stories I think I've ever come across. Player spends $32,000. That's right, $32,000 on NBA 2K25 in just 5 months. Like, my goodness. Video games, indeed. One player's gone viral for spending an astonishing $32,000 in NBA 2K25 in just 5 months on microtransactions. The clip was posted to X, which showed YouTube 2KOG going through his microtransaction purchases for NBA 2K25 on PlayStation Store, where he revealed that he spent an astonishing $32,831 on the game. The clip reveals that transactions started on March 31st and ended on August 5th. Date the clip was recorded. Okay. The YouTuber himself revealed that he's learned his lesson from spending a large amount of money and warned others that it's not worth chasing cards or spending large amounts of money for content creation. What's worse is that despite him spending $32,000, he's still not obtained all the best cards in the game. Sorry. My prompter advancer item was escaping. But anyway, so one thing's for sure, I will not spend this much again. All right, I'm not going to read this whole article. What the heck? If the dude's a content creator and is making bank, sure. But I don't think investing $32,000 into an annual release game is ever going to pay off. If he has debt, do you need some Dave Ramsey? How much carpal tunnel do you have to have after spending $32K, but only $1 or $2 at a time? Like, my gosh. It'd be an interesting call. I don't know. It just made me sad. Who would spend this money? Investing money into certain things makes no sense. Aaron, I totally agree. 1,000%. Yeah, I don't know. I just could not see myself spending 32 grand on any game. I heavily limit how much I interact with interact with microtransactions. The most I spend out of pocket at any given time is maybe like $5 on like a skin, and it's very rare. I have to want it, and honestly, I will jump through some hoops to make me not have to pay out of pocket for it. Microsoft rewards, credit card points, like anything I've got that I can convert to Xbox or PlayStation money. That's the route I go. Microsoft Rewards has been like the main thing. Most of the battle passes I've bought for like Fortnite or back in the day Apex Legends came from me spending those Microsoft Rewards points on Xbox currency. So like, I'm a cheapskate when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I just can't imagine whaling any game, but much less 2K25. Like, that's an annual release. In a year, that 32 grand means nothing. What do you monthly expenditures? Food? Yeah. Rent? Yeah. Wait, you spent how much on video games? Not just like video games, but like a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, all right, let's move on. All right, we learned last week Contraband has stopped development at Xbox. This was a game being made by the people that made Just Cause. Apparently, Xbox has stopped development of Contraband. According to Steven Totillo at GameFile, Microsoft has recently stopped development of the upcoming game at Avalanche Studios. The report says that development, which had been going on for 5 years, is now on hold. Totillo adds that Microsoft declined to comment on the state of the game, and Avalanche hasn't responded by this time. His report went live. He also added that games from studios such as Platinum, Kojima Productions, and Asobo are still in the works, per sources. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. They were working on it. With all the cuts and things, this game has been halted for some reason. Kind of lame. Hey, Dan, what's up, dude? Good to see ya. How was your weekend, my friend? Kind of a bummer, though. I was looking forward to see what this game held. Just Cause is a very fun, insane kind of game, and what could Contraband have been as a final product? I don't know, but it would have been awesome. All you've done is gardening? Interesting. I need to get out in my yard and do work. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm always bummed by this kind of stuff. All right. Let's see. Okay, this one I thought was pretty cool. Marvel Rivals cross-progression discussions have launched. I kind of wish this was Marvel Rivals cross-progression was coming, is on the way. But discussions have launched, which is better than nothing. But cross-progression discussions for Marvel Rivals have launched, according to game director Guang. Though Insider Gaming understands plans are still in the early stages. That's pretty much the summary of the whole article. Cross progression, I think, is super important because it would allow me to keep playing on anything. But as this second headline says, cross progression is unlikely to come soon. Speaking to Insider Gaming, at the Marvel Rivals Ignite mid-season finals, and Guangzhou, Guang deferred a question on cross progression to the recently launched Discord community event, asking players to submit their ideas. Cross progression is the main focus of the new Ask the Devs event for Marvel Rivals, which began August 8th, with players asked to submit their ideas, ask questions, and shape the future of the game. The event will end on August 22nd. See, feedback from the event will be collected and the team will discuss internally. So, it could be a while off. I think Marvel Rivals being kind of soft locked to a platform is dumb when it's a cross-play game. I think anything with cross-play needs to have cross-progression, however the infrastructure would work for that. It's kind of pointless to go, yeah, you can play it anywhere, but you have to have like 4 separate accounts to play it anywhere. You know, like, no, I want my one account to follow me on whatever platform I want. And, you know, the fact that it's taken this long is wild. I just don't see how they didn't account for players wanting to play across multiple platforms. You know, Marvel Rivals for Switch 2. Yeah, that needs to happen. A Switch 2 version does need to release. I'm surprised that's not on the... I'm sure it's on their internal like roadmap, but I'm surprised we haven't learned about it. But yeah, I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. I want cross progression in every game. Very, very few games now seem to lack cross progression as far as multi-platform goes. Apex took a long time to get it. Fortnite did it all right. I don't know of any other games that have struggled with doing it. Overwatch's implementation of it was really good. You know, I just, how does this game not have it? This is my biggest question, and so I figured we'd bring this up here and just pose that question to chat. Like, how does that affect? It kind of affects me wanting to play it, because I'd like to play it either on PC or PlayStation or Xbox, depending on what's not being used in my house at any given time. But because I started playing on Xbox, I'm kind of locked in there, and I don't want to be. I want to be able to play anywhere. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, and we'll move on. Okay, I thought this was kind of big news-ish. Rod Fergusson is leaving... wrong dial. Is leaving Blizzard, stepping away from the Diablo franchise. Rod Fergusson previously worked at Microsoft, working on the Gears of War franchise. And now he's leaving Microsoft again. He said, after 5 years driving the Diablo franchise forward with 4 big launches, it's time for me to step away from Blizzard Microsoft, sword in hand, and see what's next. Teams are set up for success with an exciting slate of releases ahead. I'm incredibly proud of what we built together and looking forward to what comes next for Diablo and for me. So, yeah, if you guys follow, like, game developers and people involved in the industry, Rod Fergusson was a big part of the Gears of War series. Left Microsoft, took a job at Blizzard, had been working on the Diablo franchise, and now he's leaving Microsoft again. So, you know, interesting. I'm wondering if the exit is signs of anything bad at Blizzard, or dude was just like kind of Diablo'd out and ready for the next project in his life, which I could see that being the case. You know, that would be easily understood. But all the best. I hope he has something cool up his sleeve and lined up something awesome to do. That would be awesome. All right. Anyway, I don't know if you guys saw this weekend. I thought this was adorable. Nintendo announces My Mario, a range of products for young children, including amiibo building blocks. They're Japan only for now, but some will be released overseas next year. As a parent, if this stuff was around when my kid was a toddler, this would have been all up in my house. That's all I'm saying. Let's see, the My Mario range will go on sale on Nintendo's Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto stores from August 26th, with select products being released outside of Japan next year. One of the main products in the range is a woodblock set featuring characters and items from the Super Mario series. These will be sold in 3-piece sets for about $20, 2,980 yen, or a full 30-piece set for $135. Good lord. Each of the character blocks, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi, is also an amiibo, meaning they can be used in compatible games instead of the standard amiibo figures for those characters. Book publisher, words are hard, Shoga Kukan, which publishes long-time-running Koro Koro comic, is also releasing a board book called Hello Mario, which lets children open Mario's mouth and turn his face around. That's a weird way to summarize a kid's board book. You could have just said, lets you interact with Mario in book form. This will be accompanied by a free app, also named Hello Mario, which will be released on smart devices and Nintendo Switch, which lets players pull Mario's face and turn it around, similar to the title screen of Super Mario 64. And then a series of short 1-minute stop-motion shorts called It's Me, Mario will be released on the official My Mario website and Nintendo's own YouTube channel. Other products are being made for the My Mario range by a variety of companies. Bandai will be releasing hoodies and rompers that dress children up as Mario, as well as t-shirts, backpacks, and tableware. Japanese entertainment company HappyNet will be releasing soft Mario plushies for babies, as well as rattles and other small hand-washable toys for young children. The full initial range of 34 products can be found on the official My Mario website. All of this looks adorable, and I love it. Just as a parent, if I had a toddler, I would be importing some of this. I guarantee it. Board book, that's all books. That's fair. If you don't like books. Denali, I'm not sure what you meant by your chat message. Maybe I misunderstood that. But you have a digital game on Xbox you can't play elsewhere despite the fact that there's no disc. No, I can't use my account elsewhere. My Marvel Rivals account is locked to my Xbox account. If I log in, even if I like sign in with my existing Marvel Rivals account, it's treated as a separate thing. Brent, good to see you. Happy Monday. Welcome in. But yeah, I think this stuff's adorable. It's even dumber than what I thought was happening. Yeah, it's a stupid situation, no doubt. All right, let's move on. All right, I thought this was cool. I had one of these games on the Sega Saturn, and it creeped the mess out of me as a kid, and I never got very far in it. But Night Dive and id Software have released definitive remasters of FPS classics Heretic and Hexen. Both games come in one bundle and include 2 brand new episodes. Classic first-person shooters Heretic and Hexen have been given remasters for modern platforms. Announced during QuakeCon's welcome stream, id Software's Marty Stratton and Hugo Martin revealed that Heretic plus Hexen will be available today on everything, priced at $15 for the bundle of both games. Xbox and PC versions will also be available for Game Pass subscribers. The new releases have been handled by retro specialist Night Dive Studios, which has already released modernized remasters of Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, Quake, Quake 2, Star Wars Dark Forces, and the first 3 Turok games, among many other early polygonal PC games. Originally released in 94 and 95, Heretic and its sequel. I didn't know. I had Hexen. I didn't know Heretic was a game before it. But it used a modified version of the Doom engine to offer similar FPS action but with a dark fantasy theme instead of a sci-fi military one. Heretic was one of the first FPS games to allow inventory management and the ability to look up and down. Meanwhile, Hexen introduced hub levels and the ability to choose between 3 characters with their own unique weapons. New releases feature up to 4K resolution, 120 frames per second on hardware that supports it, as well as numerous texture enhancements. They also include a remix soundtrack by Andrew Hulshult, who previously worked on Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods, and the Doom and Doom 2 remasters. Anyway, that's pretty much all you need to know. It looks cool. I will probably check out Hexen. I never knew what to do in that game as a kid. I was lost and dumb. I had it on the Sega Saturn. And I was just creeped out by it. I didn't know what was going on. I probably shouldn't have had access to this game. But I did. And I remember playing it. But I'll probably install it. And my mom, I'll show it to her because she was the one that thought it was cool and then never played it. So yeah, it'll be funny to be like, hey, remember this game that we never made any progress in? And I probably shouldn't have had access to as a child. But anyway, kind of cool if you're into like old school FPSs. These are apparently good. All right, let's talk about Square. They're in the news. I can't believe this is the actual headline from Games Radar. I thought it was a joke. I thought I was reading like Hard Drive Mag. I thought I was reading a satire article. Square Enix down 11 billion yen in game sales because it can only re-release Kingdom Hearts so often. But says, don't worry, boss. We've got some great JRPGs in the chamber. More Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, and Octopath Traveler are on the way. I don't understand the headline. I really haven't looked at the article, but Square's financials have come out. And it's interesting. So let's read. The brutal thing about a cyclical industry like games is that the better you do one year off the back of a big release, the worse you'll look the next year when you don't have a comparable whopper to punch up the numbers. Square Enix runs into some of that in its latest financial report, but its figures are also a more complex and interesting breakdown of how its game dev operations are going. Now with a lineup of promising JRPGs poised to get it back to the good part of the cycle. Square Enix breaks its reports into categories, and the one we're interested in is Digital Entertainment, DE, covering HD games, MMO, and games for smart devices / PC browser. Google says 11 billion yen is $74 million. Well, that's good to know. It's still a lot. Net DE sales for the 3-month quarter ending June 30th were down 11 billion yen compared to last year, which Square attributes to lower sales than the segment had generated the previous year, which saw releases that included 3 Kingdom Hearts catalog titles on Steam. They really did blame this on Kingdom Hearts. Last August, the power of PC gamers was on full display as the complete Kingdom Hearts collection jumped 396 ranks in monthly sales charts immediately after coming to Steam. It's not all bad news though. Square's HD game sector actually generated around 1 billion yen more profit this quarter despite lower sales thanks to lower development cost amortization and decreased related advertising expenses. So they did some math and then they didn't buy ads. Okay. This cost reduction stands out to me, given Square's ongoing plan to shift from quantity to quality with game development amid an aggressive push for multi-platform releases. Making games ain't getting any cheaper. Less than amazing games have a harder time cutting through the noise, and leaving money and players on the table with exclusive deals makes less and less sense. Square's reduced overhead does appear to have benefited it this quarter. It's in this space that Square appears optimistic about its remaining 2025 release lineup. Final Fantasy Tactics Remake, The Evilus Chronicles launches September 30th. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake is due October 30th. Octopath Traveler 0 is coming December 4th. And the Switch 2 and Xbox release Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is timed for this winter. Very interesting. They legitimately said we couldn't re-release Kingdom Hearts a second time in the year. There's no other platforms to put Kingdom Hearts on. Actually, they could have put Kingdom Hearts 3 on Switch 2. Hear me out. That's a realistic thing they could have done. They still could do, and then they could also do non-cloud versions of the Kingdom Hearts story so far, because the Switch cloud versions is the only way you can play them on Switch, and that's stupid. Because it's I don't know what the underlying tech is, but it's just cloud streamed, and the Switch's Wi-Fi or LAN situation, I mean, it was a bad experience. I've watched a lot of gameplay of people trying it out, and even hardlined in, it's choppy and weird, and I don't know what platform they're using. It's certainly not GeForce Now or something, known. But yeah, so hopefully Square can right the boat, I guess, or do well. I don't know. It's like, yeah, they're down, but okay, they're not doing bad. 2.5.5 remaster 3D 2D HD. Weird. All right, let's move on. Maybe. All right, let's talk about Battlefield 6 and what a whirlwind weekend it was, because we started off on August 6th with this headline. Exclusive. Activision leadership isn't worried about Battlefield 6 because Call of Duty is too big to fail. I'm just going to leave the quote at that. I mean, we know what state Call of Duty is in. The sentiment towards Call of Duty is increasingly negative. They're down from being way up. Yes. But anyway, so Activision is just kind of resting on their laurels here. If I maybe use that phrase correctly. And think, oh yeah, Call of Duty's fine. It'll sell no matter what. Okay, I mean, that's cool. Too big to fail. I've heard that before. And then, August 7th, Battlefield 6 has beaten almost every Call of Duty game ever made on Twitch. The early access for the beta, open beta came out, opened up, people were logging on. And viewership, let's just find the viewership. At the time of the publishing of the article, Battlefield 6 beta had 830,000 live viewers, which is something of a stunning record for the series. Not only is it the most watched Battlefield game ever, it's also effortlessly beating the peak viewership count for every major Call of Duty game ever, bar Call of Duty Warzone. Like, that's crazy. For reference, here's the ranking for peak viewer counts on Twitch. Look at this. Warzone's at 1 million. Just Warzone. But all of the others have not touched Battlefield 6. Did I see over 300k cheaters, man? Yes, I did see that. I don't think I included the article here. I think we were having I figured just covering the absolute domination of Battlefield 6 in the news cycle this weekend would have been enough. But the viewership on the beta isn't all the news we got, right? Because now we also have Battlefield 6 beta has now beaten Call of Duty's all-time player count on Steam, closing in on 500k. This was updated 2 days ago. Shocking almost nobody. Battlefield 6 open beta dominates on Steam and Twitch. So, well, they have the numbers. They were 334,549 right at the launch of the open access beta period, or the early access beta period. And yeah, they had the 856,000 peak viewers on Twitch. So the Steam numbers look good. Like, there's a lot of people playing. Well, apparently with the update, they hit 496,000 players on Steam. It will doubtless hit 500k or even more across the weekend. Queues are soaring close to the 100,000 mark too in some regions and on some platforms. Pretty sure this means Battlefield's definitely back. Regardless of how you feel about Battlefield or Call of Duty, that's an insane number of players. And as Zeke mentioned earlier, 300,000 cheaters were banned. People attempting to cheat have been dealt with, according to Battlefield, like their official channels and people who are, I guess, allowed to speak on those things. But anyway, it's just nuts to think that like that many people were playing in an open beta. It kind of feels like back in the Halo 3 beta days, just how hyped people were for that, and just how explosive it was, and just everybody seems to be talking about Battlefield. And I think Call of Duty fatigue is real, and they really jumped the shark with the latest round of skins and everything else that they've done with like cross like media collabs and everything. People just want an action-packed, grounded shooter. We don't want Beavis and Butthead. We don't want the Ninja... Well, like, maybe we want the Ninja Turtles. I don't know. You might. We don't need, celebrities being reimagined in Call of Duty graphics. It's just insane. I really, I wish I had been able to play the beta this weekend, but I wasn't. So maybe this coming weekend I'll be able to get on it. I think they're doing another round. Not sure. I believe so. But good on them for making waves where Call of Duty has been kind of stagnant. Lack of, I won't say complete lack of innovation, but they, like I said earlier, they just seem to be kind of resting on their laurels, I think is where I can leave that. Good on Battlefield and EA, DICE, or Battlefield Studios. Whoever makes Battlefield now, like, they keep changing up studio names and who's working on what. But, yeah, cool. Good to see. All right, this was something I wanted to talk about, and no thanks. After Sony's Horizon knockoff lawsuit against Tencent, Light of Motrium dev scrubbed store page, changing game description, images, and key art. Okay. We talked about the lawsuit a little last week. This game came out, looks like Horizon Zero Dawn, just sort of. So Sony's lawsuit over Horizon similarities have Light of Motrium changing its Steam store, changing screenshots, art, and even its game description. Polaris Quest's Light of Motrium was revealed in November 2024, and it didn't take long for people to notice the similarities to Guerrilla's Horizon games. The reactions were blunt. Fans of media alike called it a straight up knockoff, pointing to the red-haired main character, the mechanical animal-like creatures, and its tribal post-apocalyptic setting. Fast forward to last month, and Sony decided to take things to court. In a lawsuit filed in California federal court, the company accused Tencent of creating what it called a slavish clone of its Horizon video game series. Sony claims the game's art style, story beats, gameplay elements, and even the marketing are so close that some players generally thought Light of Motrium was the next Horizon title. Well, what just changed? Here's where things get interesting. We spotted that Tencent quietly updated its Steam page to tone down the Horizon vibes. Earlier today, the developer pushed a series of updates to the game's official Steam page, where it made a noticeable set of changes to how the game is presented. Tweaks include rewriting the game's description, swapping out multiple screenshots, changing the key art, and adding a release window. The old store description leaned heavily into language that matched Horizon's themes. In a world overrun by colossal machines, explore the vast open world, build your base of operations, advance technology, train mechanimals, and take on formidable bosses. Starting from the primitive age, forge a new path of development, defy the machinations, survive with the mechanimals. It's a lot of words. The visuals could have fit right into Horizon. Well, apparently there was a collab from this specific studio pitched for them to make some kind of Horizon spinoff. And Sony was like, nah, that's okay. And so they were like, fine, we'll release our own game. Alright, so that text has now been replaced with something much more generic and survival focused, avoiding direct references to colossal machines or mech animals. Make smart use of everything around you to stay alive and face off against formidable bosses. Every step is fraught with danger and requires courage. Only by overcoming the challenges of survival can you carve out a place for yourself in this unforgiving land. Interesting. Several images that previously showcased sweeping landscapes, robotic creatures, and environments reminiscent of Horizon have been removed. The updated set features more general open-world survival imagery that doesn't lean as heavily into the sci-fi tribal tech aesthetic. Old, left, new, right. Check out the old and new images. Still kind of Horizon-y, not gonna lie. That's different, I guess. This is like a weird bokeh filter situation. Horizon copyright feel like it actually makes sense. I mean, yeah, I'm not against the Sony going, hey, you guys just straight up ripped off our IP here. Like, I think that's fair. Main promotional image has also been swapped. The old version prominently featured the red-haired protagonist, whose appearance drew comparison to Horizon's Aloy. The new artwork instead spotlights two in-game creatures, a penguin-like animal and a dog-like companion, shifting focus away from the human character entirely. The game's release window has been updated from to be announced to Q4 2027, making the first time a specific time frame has been listed for the project. Apart from these recent changes, SteamDB records indicate that several videos tied to the store page have been removed in recent days. All of these updates point to a clear attempt to move Light of Muttering away from its Horizon-like presentation, at least in public marketing materials. Check out key art changes below. Those are placeholders. That's not the key art. That is a placeholder until they can redesign this character entirely. That looks like something out of Horizon. It looks like I would be expecting like a gacha game in the Horizon universe. That's the vibes I get from this. Right now, there haven't been any big developments in the lawsuit itself. Sony's complaint still stands, and Tencent hasn't made a public statement. We won't know much. Q4 2027 is a long time though. For this game to be having this much attention, I wonder if they are reworking a ton of visuals and moving away from this almost entire like story beat. I don't know. It's interesting. But it's going to be fun to see how this plays out over the next, 2 years? I don't know. All right, let's move on. All right, let's talk about this. This is a big story here. This is what we made the thumbnail and the title about. PlayStation will move away from a hardware-centric business model, Sony Senior Vice President says. 5 years into PlayStation 5's life cycle, there are 124 million monthly active users tapped into the PlayStation ecosystem. That's a great number. Only 62.9 million of them are on PS5. The rest, some 37.9 million, are either on PC or more commonly their trusty old PlayStation 4. Indeed, in many ways, this still feels like a transitional period, a cross-gen experience that in the past would have largely been over by now. Given recent comments from Sony Senior Vice President Sadahiko Hayakawa, that's probably not a fluke, but by design, and a sign of things to come as PlayStation shifts gears from a firm focus on hardware to a more fluid, engagement-fixated business model. So, the quote, moving away from a hardware-centric business, has people up in arms. Let me tell you, I've watched people on Twitter go wild over this statement and what it could mean. First, let's note something important. This is all based on a translation. The words were spoken in Japanese, but English speakers who are also fluent in Japanese have backed things up in the comments. The source is a corporate meeting between Sadahiko Hayakawa and several other high-ranking Sony executives, which I suppose you can enjoy firsthand if you happen to understand what they're saying. So it's a tweet from Genki. Sony Senior Vice President says they are gradually shifting their gaming business from a hardware-centric business model to a community and engagement-based platform business model. What drew so much attention to the statement, however, is the above Twitter post by prolific social media personality Genki. This tilt toward thinking of PlayStation less as a seller of consoles and more of a multi-purpose platform is hardly shocking given the company's push to bring first-party titles to PC and their various ongoing live service ventures. An excellent Reset Era post shines greater light on everything. A user by the name of Windrunner provided a more complete transcript of the translated text which Genki's tweet contained. My gosh, words. Let me catch up on chat too. Will PC still be the mass race. It becomes the only race. I mean, maybe. Is it what I just heard? Sony realizes people are tired of paying for overpriced consoles. Fanboys are displeased. I think they're doing what Microsoft has been doing for the last 4 or 5 years, de-emphasizing the hardware and emphasizing the services. In what I could say, where hardware sales and raw game sales counted a lot back then, right now I think the biggest metrics are concurrent players and recurring revenue accounts. I don't know how that's qualified, but how many subscribers does Game Pass have, and how many people are currently playing X game on Xbox or PC? I think those are bigger numbers, and those are the things that are leaning towards growth. Because we talked about this a while back. Old school publishers, your EAs, your Sonys, your even Activision and Microsoft to some degree, and Nintendo as well, aren't up against each other like they were back in, even last gen. Now they're up against Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft to some degree. You've got these games that are endless content farms for people, for players. And the younger kids, this is what they've grown up with, so this is what they're sticking to. And why would they do anything else? Why would they buy a console for one game? Why would they buy a whole game? You've got to convince people to do that. So let's read the quote in its full context from Genki's tweet. So now, as we make more transition to entertainment creation, the stability and the productivity, our performance is increasing. Hayakawa says, doubtless via a more natural string of Japanese words than the English translation effort has given us. He's not just talking about PlayStation. He references a shift from the electronics business to creation devices, including digital cameras. We are seeing more stability in profitability and in revenue, and also the productivity of our performance is increasing. Another era thread puts things into further perspective. In fact, my opening words in this article paraphrase the person's point. Right now, PlayStation's user base is still vividly split between PS5, PS4, not to mention PC. As Sony solidifies a multi-platform strategy built upon the bedrock of engagement, there's every reasonable expectation that even more players will cling to their PS5s rather than shelling out for PlayStation 6. And the article ends there, but I think more should be said, or could be said. It's kind of the reason why, at least I think, Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox. I think, very soon? A couple weeks? I think it's... you can have... You've sold all the copies of Helldivers 2 on PlayStation 5 you're going to sell now that it's been out. Wherever the sales are at right now. That's the amount of players you have on PlayStation 5. But by putting it on Xbox, you go from selling 0 copies extra on Xbox to now selling however many they sell, which is more people logged into the game, more people playing the game, and those concurrent player counts mean a whole lot more long term for the shift to games as a service, which we'll talk about in a moment. But there was more from this financial meeting. What was this from? I guess this is just one thing. I don't know if this is a one-off. I'm pretty sure this was also a financial report, financial meeting, kind of like we saw from Square Enix. So, and pardon me, I don't know all the businessy terms. Limiting your reach in gaming isn't sustainable business model unless you're Nintendo, and so there might be some changes in Nintendo on that front. We'll be interested to see how gaming changes. No, I completely agree, Ginger. What'll be super interesting in that regard is if Nintendo just launches their own PC platform. They can still completely control it. They probably partner. I could see them partnering with Apple. Then it's hey, walled gardens are our favorite things, right? You need someone new that's not one of the giants to make a new console that had physical games. It's a hard space to get into, Zeke. I agree. I think it would be cool. It's a hard space to get into, especially now. People are moving away from it. You have to make a PC. You basically have to make a PC with a good platform, a good OS. And you have to come up with a new OS that can still run games. That's the challenge there. But yeah, this has people going nuts. You got people going, oh, PlayStation is just dead. All the games are coming to Xbox. And I'm like, okay, all the extremist noise aside, what this means is Sony's focusing more on building out their live service platform, their community platform, probably some kind of content creation platform alongside that. They're gonna be pulling a very similar Microsoft situation with Xbox. I think it will be much more slow to roll out, and it'll be much more I don't know. It's going to bring a lot more criticisms with it. There's probably gonna be a lot of catches and gotchas with it. That's just what I see Sony doing, just as they do. But we'll see. We have a few more stories from PlayStation that we'll cover as well. Sony CFO says Marathon is expected to release before March, and Bungie's independence is getting lighter. This was last week. We are now fixing the problem, so we believe this launch will happen. In a Q&A session following the company's latest financial results, Sony's execs were asked about the current state of Marathon, following the shooter's official delay, and whether it was factored into Sony's forecast for the current fiscal year. The caller also asked for an update on the management of Bungie, as well as what Sony would do in the worst-case scenario if Marathon was to be cancelled outright. Sony CFO Lin Tao responded by saying Marathon is planned to release within the current fiscal year, which ends March 31st, 26. First, about Marathon, how we factored it in the forecast, we expect the launch to happen within the fiscal year. But having said that, this is not a commitment. No official announcement has been given yet. We are now doing modifications in development, and based on the progress in the autumn timeframe, we believe we can communicate when we can launch Marathon, either from Bungie or PlayStation. So, cool, the game's still coming. With regards to Bungie, Tao reiterated Sony's decision to take more control over the studio's management, with the eventual aim being to completely integrate it into PlayStation Studios. Interesting. About the governance of Bungie, at the time of acquisition, we were offering a very independent environment, so that was one way of thinking. However, thereafter, we have gone through structural reform, as we announced last year, so this independence is getting lighter, and Bungie is shifting into a role which is becoming more part of PlayStation Studios, and integration is proceeding. So in the long term, if you can see this as an ongoing process, the direction for Bungie is to become a part of PlayStation Studios. Yikes. As for whether Marathon would be cancelled, Tao said she currently doesn't expect this to happen, saying we are now fixing the problem, so we believe this launch will happen. If this launch is cancelled, we'd need to do the revision of the valuation. However, as of now, this is not expected. Marathon was originally planned to release on September 23rd, but Bungie announced in June that it officially delayed the game, claiming that it needs more time to refine and test. So, yes. Bungie basically is not as independent as they want it to be. We don't need another live service platform. We need physical games back, but Nintendo will say physical. I mean, it's possible. They could. I don't know what Bungie really expected by, I don't know, not remaining independent. I guess they couldn't afford to remain independent. Sony's deal up front was nice, but I think being tightly integrated into PlayStation Studios means they're going to be the Destiny maker forever, and then they're also going to be support. They're going to spin up support studios for all the other live service commitments that Sony keeps wanting to make. So, like I don't want to see anybody get fired. I don't want to see anybody get laid off. I just think they're not going to have these dead releases anymore. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the next thing. Morning. Thanks for joining the stream. But yeah, so okay, we spoke of live services. So the next topic then was this. Sony CFO says that the live service shift is not entirely going smoothly, but pledges to carry on and learn from mistakes. This is the same quotes from the same person. Lin Tao says progress has been made despite somewhat negative news caused by Concord and Marathon. Sony's chief financial officer says the company will learn from its live service failures, but it insists that progress has been made despite them. So in the Q&A session, more questions were asked. Last year, Concord shut down, and this year, Marathon was postponed, so somewhat negative news has been coming out. But if we look at the past 5 years ago, live service games were almost non-existent for PlayStation Studios. We now have Helldivers 2, MLB The Show, and Gran Turismo 7, Bungie's Destiny 2, So we have these 4 live services contributing to sales and profits in a stable manner. Tao had earlier noted during Sony's results presentation that live service games accounted for around 40% of first-party software revenue for the past quarter, and cited this again in her reply. Q1 live service ratio is up 40%. For the full year, it's a little less, probably between 20 to 30%, she said. So in terms of transformation, it's not entirely going smoothly, but from a longer-term perspective, if you look at the changes over 5 years, you see there's definitely been a change. Of course, we recognize there are still many issues, so we should learn the lessons from mistakes and make sure that we introduce live service content where there's less waste and it's more smooth. And I think that's a good place to stop on the article. Like, it doesn't say a whole lot else, but the fact that they can acknowledge, hey, we haven't done it great. Let's learn and go forward. I think part of that is not having exclusive live services. Helldivers 2 coming to Xbox is a good sign of that. Putting your games everywhere so everybody can play them is like the best approach. You know, being multiplayer games especially, you need more people. You can't have a live service if nobody is there. You know, a dead server is a dead server. And I just, I'm going to say the same things over and over with this stuff. But it's good to see Sony kind of acknowledging, hey, we misstepped. But we've learned, we can move forward, we can make better products, we can, target our live services a little better. Let's go. I'm excited for the future. Whether or not you're on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Switch, I don't think it should matter, especially for multiplayer stuff. Put that everywhere. And I do hope that Sony at least tries to release the older games onto their older like single player exclusives onto Xbox, if only to just push that even further, like push it home even further that hey, they're not focused on hardware anymore, they're focused more on software, community platforms, and player engagement. I think that's where that lies. That's where that has to be. All right, I think I have one more article. And wow, we are almost at the top of the hour. Good lord. Full show today. I thought this was awesome. Guitar Hero veterans form rhythm game development studio Red Octane Games. The studio's first title will be revealed later in 2025. Veterans of the rhythm game genre have established a new development studio called Red Octane Games. According to today's announcement, the small studio plays home to creators and developers who helped create and scale Guitar Hero and DJ Hero nearly 2 decades ago, as well as proven emerging development talent and community leaders from across today's rhythm gaming space. Red Octane is currently developing a range of rhythm-based experiences, with its first title scheduled to be revealed later this year. It describes itself as a company within Embracer Group's Free Mode, which offers support and guidance to independently operated businesses. The studio is headed up by Simon Ebager, who was production director on several Guitar Hero titles at Neversoft and later served as studio head at Vicarious Visions and VP of Operations at Blizzard. Red Octane was the publisher of the original Guitar Hero and the PS2 version of Guitar Hero 2 before becoming an Activision subsidiary when the Call of Duty maker acquired the franchise for $100 million. Activision closed Red Octane, which was co-founded by Kai Huang and Charles Wang, in 2010. The Wang brothers are to join a special advisory board for the new Red Octane. So, this is cool. They won't be able to make Guitar Hero, but I love the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. You have a good day too. I am like super pumped. We're making a new game and it definitely isn't Guitar Hero. Yes, that's precisely it, Denali. I don't know. When I learned that Epic Games bought Harmonix, and that's what Fortnite Festival is. It's Rock Band. Harmonix had a big hand in the first Guitar Hero, maybe the first 2 Guitar Hero games. And then Red Octane was a support studio some kind of way, and it became like the main support for Neversoft making Guitar Hero. And Red Octane has been involved on the Activision side a lot. But Harmonix spun off and started making Rock Band, like just on their own. And I love both, except the latest iterations of both. Like they just had flaws. But now we have Fortnite Festival, which is just Rock Band with less stuff. And now we have a potential for Guitar Hero to come back. It just kind of feels like gaming realized, hey, we were good in like the 2010s, and then we kind of lost our way at the end of that decade. 2019, we strayed off course. Let's course correct. I'm really hoping a new Guitar Hero title is in the works. Obviously, I don't expect it to be called Guitar Hero, but sell me a plastic guitar again. I don't know. I like those games. I love Rock Band. I love playing the drums. I'm not good at any of them, but I enjoyed the heck out of them. It's not something we could ever stream. But yeah, that's it for today's game news. I really hope Guitar Hero's on the way back. I really do. I would love it. But anyway, that's it. What do you guys think? Thanks for being here this morning. Hope you all enjoyed the game news. Hey, we took up the whole hour today. Let's course correct indeed. I'm going to start popping in more often. Grim, good to see you. I hope you're having a good day, bro. Denalid, thank you for being in chat. You're welcome for the stream. Boom City. Oh man, what a fun day. Dang, I was late. I'm sorry, Grim. I started at 9 a.m. Central Time. I was on time, like super duper this morning. I started like a minute early even. But let's find somebody to raid and send this over to. Who is it today? Lulu May is live. It's been a while since we've raided her. It's been a while since she's been live. So we will send the stream to her. Woke up at now. Oh, man. Completely understood. All right, guys. Well, if you're one to pray, pray with me today that my AC will be fixed in a timely manner, because I don't know how long I can stay in the house. It's already warm in here. I'm probably going to just shut off my personal desktop and leave my work laptop next to a fan, so it also isn't a space heater. But I love you guys. I will see y'all tomorrow night. Should be live again tomorrow night. I believe we're playing either Pokemon Unite or Fortnite. I don't remember the schedule. I posted it everywhere. I will check it again. But I love y'all. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Adios. For the record, Zeke, I got your hydrate. Grim, thank you for waving chaotically.